Hi, I'm here with Chris Atkins, and he is with me on the Israel film shoot for the TV and social media. And today we're just going to be talking about what equipment we use. And I think this might be helpful for people doing social media or anyone who's into film and things like that.
Or people who like gear.
Gearheads.
Yep. Yeah, so what would you like to know?
Well, let's talk about you first. So what do you do for a living?
So I'm a videographer, so I do a lot of TV programs, but also some commercial stuff. And now with social media, it's opened me up to a whole new world of people who need videos for social media, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, honestly, I tell people if you're looking for a job, go into film, because right now it's crazy with social media.
Yeah.
Because people are putting finally money towards it.
Exactly. Well, the really cool thing about social media right now is it's opened up the opportunities for people to show their business, their organization, or whatever it is, their cause, and everyone needs video. When I started out, there's very few avenues to distribute a video. Back in the old days, you'd give somebody a VHS tape, or then it became a DVD, and then people found ways to distribute it on USB sticks.
Yeah.
But being able to deliver content online through your phone, people are finding the value of having videos on their Facebook, Instagram, whatever, right? It's become a very, very integral part of our social media structure now. Yeah,
for sure. And we all know, I always say, video gets the views, gets the engagement, and it's important even for SEO and things like that. Like websites need video as well.
Yeah.
Like it's just a growing industry. So let's talk about first what things you are using.
Well, because most of my work is for broadcast television, I tend to use the larger cameras. And so I've got this bad boy here. This is the Sony FS5, and I've kind of got it rigged up a little bit. This isn't the standard configuration, like this viewfinder is actually from a different camera. But I needed to be able to go handheld with this. And what I find with these cameras, so if you look and you see, if you remove the whole shoulder harness, the camera is actually quite small. But if you are doing what I call run and gun stuff, and you're doing a lot of handheld work, the problem with a small camera like that is you're holding it out in front of you. And so all that weight of this camera, if you're shooting more than 10 minutes like this, your back starts to hurt. All that weight is on your arms, and you have to try and keep it steady.
Yes.
So for cameras like this, that's why I add the shoulder piece. Of course, I've got my microphones on the back, the wireless receivers, to try and help counterbalance it, because even though I have it on my shoulder, you need that weight because you have all this weight up front, and if you're going to bounce on your shoulder and keep it up there for a while, that weight is still on your arms. So to try and put as much weight in the back to balance it out so that you can keep this thing up here for a while, it'll save your back.
And the picture. Like the other day I had it gimbal like this, and then after like 3 minutes the camera was so heavy that I brought it back and tried to rest it, but my arms are actually hurting. Like
that was a small camera.
I know, trust me.
Yeah.
I like the phones.
The other camera that I use often is right here. I've got the Sony A7R2. A lot of times I use the Sony A7S2 because that's better, a little bit better for video, and it's also incredibly good in low light. This is also good in low light, but not as much. I brought this guy because it is an incredible photography camera, and I can do video with it as well.
Yeah.
Both these Sonys, I can exchange lenses between them, so different lenses for different purposes. But even this is the camera that you had on the gimbal the other day, but with a smaller lens. But even this, as it is, if you're out there shooting for a long time, holding out in front of you, there's problems, because now you look at how I'm trying to hold it in. Well, that's putting all kinds of pressure on your middle back and your shoulders. You start to get tired. The other problem I find with cameras like this, if you're going a long time handheld, is because you don't have something resting on your shoulder, you tend to wobble. So you're not keeping it level. Plus, the other issue with cameras like this is audio. You can put a little shotgun mic on here, but that really only captures what's right in front of you. If you have people talking, you want to put wireless mics on them if they're moving around, doing all that kind of stuff, unless you can have an audio guy that has the boom and can do all that stuff for you. So that means if I want to use wireless mics with this, I now have to put the wireless receivers and some sort of mixer box on top, and now you've just added to that weight. So it's a little tricky to try to get that television quality. And audio is a big part of any production.
Yeah.
They used to say, I remember back when I first started this, people would say, well, audio is 30% of your production. And people would say it's 50% of your production. I think it's probably closer to 80 and 90.
Yeah.
Because if your audio is terrible, it doesn't matter how beautiful your images are.
Yeah. It wrecks it.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to have good audio.
Yeah, I agree. All right, and then we've been using the GoPro. My first time using it, I love it.
It's very cool.
And why do you like the GoPro?
I like the GoPro because you can stick these things on in places that you can't put a larger camera. One of the other things that we've done on this shoot is we've even taken GoPros and added them on top of the other cameras because it gives you that secondary wide shot. And it's a bit of a safety too. So, if I'm adjusting something or somebody stepped out of focus, I know I can go to the wide shot to cover, because a lot of the stuff that we're doing is people talking on camera. We don't have a lot of cutaways to go to.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's great because you've been able to actually get different angles, and sometimes out of my peripheral I'll see Sherri running around with the GoPro.
Yeah, and it's nice and wide. That's what I love about it. So sometimes I hate it because it gets so much. Yeah. But for the most part, it just gives a really good, clear image too. Like, I couldn't believe how beautiful it was, honestly. It's so small.
GoPro has done an amazing job with these little cameras.
Yeah.
The quality is incredible.
Yeah. If they could figure out how to do audio really well, honestly, the only thing I would use.
Yeah. But really, I think the reason they don't focus on audio is because they know that
it's the nature. I know it's the nature of the camera, and I know every camera can't have everything. But I'm just saying, if they nailed that, I would probably be. Yeah. That'd be my go-to. Yeah,
these are definitely a very valuable tool to have in your kit. Yeah. And there are other cameras, not just the GoPro, like the
the 360.
Pocket, 360 camera.
I love what you've been doing with the 360.
Oh, that's pretty cool. We're just kind of experimenting with it right now, but the Insta360 One X is what I've been using. And it's very cool because you can keep it in VR mode, so that if people have the goggles or if they want to move their phone around or whatever, they can see the full 360. Or in post, I can actually choose which section I want to show and show that. And it shoots in high enough resolution, 5.7K, that I can actually do that and maintain some quality.
Yeah.
But there is a difference between these big cameras and the small cameras, and usually that's the amount of information, so for color correction and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and like for TV, I would never just shoot with my phone and this. But for social, it's kind of a different game.
Yes.
It's the equipment makes all the difference in the world. Yeah. But like 360, would you ever put that on TV?
In certain scenarios, like the things like the 360 and the GoPros, is these are cameras that you can fit in places that the big cameras can't go.
Yeah, very cool. Oh yeah, so what did we do the other day with it?
Which one? On the car?
No, where were we? Hebron. We had to.
Oh yeah.
So some certain sites you're on, especially if they're holy sites, they don't want the big rigs. They get really nervous about that.
Yeah, security and
the whole thing.
Yeah. So we were able to go in Hebron, in the Tomb of the Patriarchs. And we can't bring our big stuff, so I actually had the host walk around with the 360 camera on a stick, and then you were following with the GoPro, and then I had this looking kind of touristy. Audio was an issue. Yeah. We did not get the audio we would have liked, but we got images that otherwise we would not have been able to get.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's really cool because it's a little nondescript. And then the other thing, we were just driving through whatever city and we popped it on the roof of the car. Yeah. Just really cool stuff because we were going through and there's all these like Roman pillars and first century things. Yeah. And it was just easy to get. Yeah. And just like a really cool aspect. And for social media, that's like, it's good content.
Yeah, it gives you a perspective that you normally would not see. And having these small cameras doesn't raise alarms. People aren't kind of freaking out when you get this guy and you're sticking it in somebody's face. Yeah. People.
And the other thing is, like, when you have the big camera, all of a sudden you have everyone like waving and staring at you and taking pictures. It's really distracting. And sometimes people are so rude; they just walk right in front. There's no way you didn't see that lady. Get out of here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. The funny thing that happens sometimes with the big camera is, especially with people from other countries. I find it mostly from Asia. Okay. They see the big camera, they think something really big, like in movies, and
they think they're like gonna get discovered if they just stand in the background.
Or they tend to think that you must be somebody important because you have such a big camera. There's been a few times, it doesn't happen a lot, but every once in a while I'll have people come up and ask if they can get their picture with me.
Oh really?
With the camera.
That's funny.
And so they get a picture of me, and it's kind of funny, and I've actually had people ask me to sign autographs. It's the person in front of the camera that should be giving autographs, not behind the scenes, but why not?
Yeah, whatever, you're like... Yeah, it's been good. And then other equipment that you don't think of is just extra batteries.
Yes.
Oh man, like I left a couple things at home. The power cord, which was good. Like I only have a couple Israeli adapters, and I saw your power cord. I'm like, should have done that. You know, things like that. So.
Yeah, the backup batteries. I mean, you use that to power. Here, let's see that guy. Got this from Costco. Shout out to Costco, sponsor us. But yeah, these types of things where you can charge your phone, but also it comes in handy with the microphones. A lot of the microphones now, this is the receiver, or this is the mic pack itself. But a lot of these things you can actually power USB or at least recharge if you have a chargeable batteries.
Well, this is USB. So.
Yeah. So having a few of these in your kit comes in really handy if you've been out on a shoot. You can't get back to someplace to charge up stuff quickly. These are lifesavers.
Okay, so what's something you can't do without? You have to get like one thing for a shoot.
Well, obviously the
not
big
TV.
camera.
Not TV.
Not
so,
TV.
Yeah.
You know what? I always like to have a small camera with me, whether it's a GoPro or the 360 or something like that. Just because it is your backup. But I'd say, you got to have a good mic.
Yeah.
And tripod. Sometimes it is a real pain lugging a tripod around, but man, having that tripod and being able to set up, especially for long interviews or like on this shoot, we find that our host and the guests a lot of times they pick a spot and then they camp out there and that's where they're staying. And if they're talking for a long time, you're trying to keep it steady. Yeah,
that was my one regret yesterday. I couldn't go back to the car because it was too far. You hiked so long. And I was like, I should have just had the extra like 5 pounds on my back and then like had the. But I know it's all so important. You can't choose one thing. But
it is difficult. But having these cameras in your kit. A lot of times I'll bring stuff like this, even if I don't end up using it, that peace of mind knowing that, okay, if something happens, at the very least, I'm going to get an image. Because when people hire me, a lot of times I'm going across the world someplace where, you don't have that option of running back home or, we'll just do it tomorrow. So people are paying you to be in, they're paying your travel, they're paying all these expenses to get you there. You better be able to perform.
And backing up and things like that. That's something that's unseen that people don't think about when they go away. But
one of the things that I have systems or whatever you want to call it.
Put in place.
Every night when I get back to where I'm staying, the first thing I do is I start backing up all the footage. So I'll back it up to a hard drive. Then I will run it through. I use Adobe Premiere. A lot of times I'll load up Adobe Prelude. Dump all the footage in there so that I can log it and organize it later, but that does something else for me. Sometimes your cards don't transfer properly, and maybe a file shows up as corrupted. Well, once I've transferred over to that hard drive, I run it through Prelude. That's when I'm going to discover if there's been a problem with some footage. Usually just means you need to get that card again and just transfer that file again. 9 times out of 10 if that happens, it's just pulling up the card again. But after I do that, and I know all the footage is good, that's when I back it up to a second hard drive, and sometimes even a third, depending on the shoot. But I always make sure that I've got all the footage on 2 hard drives, and then I've checked it and made sure that everything is transferred properly. Otherwise you're just transferring corrupted files to another hard drive.
And then you get back home and you're like, sorry, we are missing one whole episode. So the other thing is I've been doing is just because I have had the 3 cameras, like I have my Lumix, the GoPro, and my phone, logging everything, waiting. This is something I learned the first time we went away. Waiting until you get home is like the worst idea in the world because first of all, you never know what security will do at the airport. Second of all, the days blend together. And then it's like, what kind of, oh my gosh, what ruins all, especially if they're from the same era. You're like, what was that? What was that? What was that? So now even just being like, here is my B-roll. Here is my stuff that's going in between things. Okay, here is day 1. We hit up these places, like the old city or whatever. organization is key for these big shoots.
Yeah, and because especially if you're not really familiar with the location or site, then you know, it's hard to remember when you get home, and you always think you're going to remember.
Yeah.
But no.
You never do.
Yeah. The other thing that I like to do is, and you've probably noticed that I do this, is I'll do what I call audio slates.
Yeah.
So before we start a segment, you'll hear me yelling out loud. Usually picking up. Sometimes some of the cameras, like the FS7, has a mic on the back of the camera itself, so it records what I'm saying for slating. But I record an audio slate, so I'll say we are at this location. This is take number 1, because in post, and at least if we haven't written it down, I've got those audio cues, so I know what it is. Oh, you know what? You asked me what something I always make sure I bring, and I don't have it here. I'll grab it. Fast forward, time lapse.
Yeah. I speak sometimes, like, when I can, if it's not live or anything, because I like to know, like, okay, sometimes I have big creative ideas in the moment, so I'll say, like, okay, this is going to be cut in with the social media clip we did yesterday or whatever, just as an audio clue, because that's the other thing, like, they'll start talking, and it could go maybe to 2 episodes or whatever, and you're stuck wondering, and you really don't want to look unprofessional.
I'm making a lot of noise down here.
I know, and you know what? I wonder about my audio quality now, because it's just a shotgun mic.
There's 2 things that I always make sure that I have with me. Number 1 is
muscle relaxed.
for your back, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you're going to be hurting. The other thing I like to bring is I always throw this in my kit.
Yeah.
This is the Lytra light, and this little guy comes in so handy. We were down in a cistern the other day.
Yeah.
There's no light. I mean, it's not a super bright light, but
it's enough.
It helps. Makes a big difference. It's magnetic. So,
yeah, I wondered how that worked.
Yeah.
I was like, that was a really quick setup.
Yeah, so I just was able to take this. There was a metal railing down there, so I just turned it on, quickly stuck it on this metal railing.
Yeah.
I was able to get enough light in there to help us, and you know, because doing archaeology, we're traveling, and they're like, hey, let's go in this cave, and you're going down these steps.
That's what I need, because I have at home like this big lighting setup, and that's for like the fixed things when people want to just, you know, but when it's just a dark day or whatever. But here, there's a few times where I would have loved to do a video even for myself or just a couple pictures, and I couldn't because I had these things that had no portable lighting, and I was like, okay, I put it in my phone, remember to buy portable lighting, because when you go on these shoots, like, you never know. And we've been in too many caves and lots of underground.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
and these things, nice things, like this doesn't have to fit on your camera, because sometimes putting the light on your camera, although it gets that light right in your face, you don't always want it right there. Or sometimes you want to stick it someplace to fill in a dark
shadows
spot.
And stuff.
And really, you know, I would love to have maybe 4 or 5 of these in my kit every time.
How much was that one?
It's about $100.
Okay, so worth it.
And it's waterproof, I think, to 30 feet.
Oh, wow.
And the nice thing about these guys, I hope maybe they'll sponsor us too, is they've designed these that they will fit in the GoPro Session holders.
Okay, sweet.
So if you have a GoPro Session, or at least if you have those holders, then all those GoPro mounts will help. I mean, it's magnetic. You can stick it on things. It also has threaded holes, so you can put it on regular camera attachments. But you know, you can rig these things up, stick them on things. You know, just they're very handy tools.
Yeah, very versatile too, which is nice.
Yeah, there's a little diffusion. So just the light itself is very harsh. So this little diffusion bubble that you put on top really helps. And I see now they have gels. They've just released a whole bunch of new versions of this. And I love this little light. Yeah,
honestly, when you're traveling and when you do stuff like us, you need the light. Like every pound makes a difference. First of all, by going on the plane, like you really have to be choosy. And like we're hiking up not nice terrain. Like we're on rocks and things. And I was like, I thought I got a really light tripod. Turns out it's not as light as I wanted.
No.
And like it's different when you're at home.
Yeah.
So like all of these little things, I'm all about miniaturization now. It wasn't a month ago.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, okay. Like this is, I don't want the big umbrella light. I need.
You need to be
things,
for this type of filming. You have to be light and fast.
Yeah.
And it's tough because you can't bring everything with you.
Yeah, I know.
And a lot of times we get to a location and you see me looking around as everyone's waiting for me to set up, and I'm trying to think, oh man, if only I had this, or it's you can't have everything.
You can't do it all, but
because we're working with low budget stuff.
Yeah. And
so,
like small teams.
Yeah.
Like it's a different game if you have 5 people, like 5 assistants.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So, but anyway, okay. Well, thanks for watching. And I hope that was helpful. So if you want to start getting into the world of video, and if you are taking care of your own social media account, some of these things, they're not, well, your huge camera was crazy expensive, but a lot of these, like this was only $500. You have a good camera on your phone.
Yeah.
You can get decent stuff for like pretty cheap, honestly. Like I was actually, when I was buying things, I was really pleasantly surprised. You could always spend like $100 grand.
Oh yeah.
But for it's pretty affordable. So well, I would say invest in it because it's worth it. If you have for social media sound and video quality, man, the world is your oyster.
Yes.
Seriously.
And start with your phone. You can get different lenses that will go on your phone to give you different angles, but the key is starting with what you have.
Yeah.
And seeing where it goes. And you can see right now the sunlight is finally coming out, which is lighting up behind us, making us look like silhouettes, and that's where one of these things
come in handy.
will help.
Exactly. All right, thanks a lot, guys.